So I'm going to start off this video slightly different than normal because I want to play a little bit of a game. Which of these shots do you think is better? Shot A or shot B? And again, we've got shot A here and then shot B. And the third and final one, we have shot A and again we have shot B. Which one do you think is better? And I hope that we all agree that the shot Bs were better each time, and the only difference between them was that I was using this here, the SMALLRig RF10C, which is a super compact light with multiple colours. It has a zoomable beam, an internal battery that lasts hours, and it comes with 20 different GOBO filters to easily shape the light and add texture to our scenes. And I think it is truly a great piece of kit, but there are a few areas that I feel like it just falls short, and some people might find slightly frustrating. Or you might think for the price of around about £50, what you get and what it can do is actually really worth it. So let's start off with why. Why would you want to use one of these? Having the ability to add different colours, textures and shapes to our scenes means that we can be super creative, and hopefully, if done right, it enhances our scenes and makes them feel more dynamic and professional. And that's actually why I decided to pick one of these lights up myself, as I thought it would be a great piece of kit to add to my filming gear. And what really made it appealing is the fact that it is so small and compact, at only 16 centimeters tall and only weighs about 420 grams. And this alone makes it super convenient for popping into our camera bags. And to be honest, I have to admit that the first time I picked this light up, I was blown away by the build quality. Normally lights which are on the slightly cheaper side of things are a bit plasticky and a bit flimsy, but holding this for the first time in your hand and seeing and feeling that it's fully made out of aluminium is a really nice thing. And that's what makes the overall design and build quality feel fantastic and very premium. The only slightly cheaper feeling thing is this silicone adapter and these plastic gobos. Putting both of these together does feel a little bit flimsy, but once we pop that adapter on the front of the light, it's fine and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off at all. I feel like a slightly more premium option would have been metal gobos with a magnetic adapter that they would have just magnetically clipped on and off of the front. But I'm not surprised for the price that we get these sort of plasticky silicone molds. Putting them in, like I said, does feel a little bit sort of flimsy and sometimes can feel a bit awkward, but once they're in, they feel solid and they don't feel like they're going to fall out. But also the adapter being silicone does mean that it packs down nice and flat. Along with those plastic gobos means that it all packs down nicely and it takes up hardly space in our bags, which is great. And if you are wondering, we do get 20 different gobos, from windows to planets and lots of different random shapes to help shape the light. Included, we also get a soft carry bag, so we could just keep everything in here. But going back to the actual light, there are 3 ×20 mounts, 2 on the side and then 1 on the bottom. And these are used so we can attach it to a tripod or magic arms. But one thing I was actually quite surprised at was the fact that they don't supply you with a mini tripod or any form of mounting system for this light. You're going to have to go out and buy that separate, whether that's going to be like a little mini tripod like this or a light stand or something, because you're going to want to get this in position to help angle and shape the light. So it's one thing to bear in mind, you will have to go out and buy something extra to get this light into the correct position. But getting this light in the right position is made a lot easier because it does have its own internal battery, which means that we don't have to drag any cables around. The battery is 7,500 milliamps and it states it lasts for over 3 hours at its full brightness. It also has constant power, meaning that if we have it plugged in to charge, that we can also use it at the same time. And to actually use and operate this light, all we have is this one dial button here. We will hold it down for 2 seconds until the LED indicator turns on, spin it, and then the light will actually turn on. And then we can spin it all the way to the left, it will flash to indicate it's at its lowest setting, spin it all the way to the right, and it will flash again to go to its brightest setting. And we can obviously choose any brightness in between the lowest and the brightest as well. If we press the multi-function dial button in, we then cycle through the 4 different colors. We have white, which is balanced to 5600 Kelvin, we have red, we have this warm sunset yellow, and also the blue as well. And this LED indicator behind the dial is also important as well. If it's green like it is now, that is to indicate that we're between 20 and 100% battery. If it was red, that's between 5 and 20%. And if it was flashing red, that basically means that we are below 5% battery, so we will need to charge it. And to turn the light off, we just hold it down for 2 seconds. We don't have to spin it as well. And that's to stop any accidental turning on when it's in our camera bags. For instance, if it was in a camera bag and it rolled over and it was being pressed down, we don't want it to turn on accidentally and to waste our battery. So that's why we have to spin it as well if we want to turn it on. Now, having these 4 different colors is great to give us a few different options, but only having the 4 colors is also a little bit of a letdown. Like, it's not RGB, so we don't have a green, for instance, and there is no way of actually changing those colors. We can only change the brightness. We can't mix the blue and the red together to get a nice sort of purple to match the lighting, what's behind me, for instance, now. And I feel like that is a big miss, and it kind of sort of limits our sort of creativity because we only have these 4 different colors. But the white that we do have is balanced to about 5600 Kelvin, and it has a CRI of 96 and a TLCI of 98, which is actually really good, and it has an output of 1570 lux at 0.5 meter. But let's face it, giving us those measurements at 0.5 meter, which is about this much, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 foot or so, is a bit of a stretch. Most people are going to be wanting to use this light further away than 0.5 meter, and the further away we actually take this light, the less bright it's actually going to be. So again, using these colors at a distance in bright scenes means we're really going to start to struggle. And that's what I feel like this light's biggest weakness is, that small 10 watts of power output. If you want to use this light in any form of bright scene, whether that's daylight or a well-lit room, but with a bit of spill from a softbox for instance, this light would just be washed out and is hardly noticeable. To get the most out of this light in A-roll or interviews or talking headshots, we're going to want to have it in a slightly darker scene with far better controlled lighting, mainly stopping the spill hitting the background. This way we can get the light to have far more impact. Now, we can actually pull the end of the light out slightly, which really does change the angle of the beam, and the narrower the beam is, it does become slightly brighter. But if we're shooting a slightly wider scene and we don't actually want to see the light in it, then we have to find that happy medium of position, brightness and beam angle. But we don't just have to use this light to throw shapes into the background. We could also use it to help sell the effect of a practical light that's already in the scene. So we could have it just off a frame and then focus the light as a hair light, and this makes it feel like the practical light is touching us, which really helps to separate us off of our backgrounds. And we could also use this light for B-roll or product shots, which seems to make the light slightly more versatile as we can get it closer to our subject, which in turn increases the brightness of the light. We could even use it for more arty and creative shots, which might be really fun and useful for, say, music videos and short films. And one thing I find slightly strange or maybe slightly misleading is the fact that they've called this light a portable focusable LED. So I'm not quite sure what they mean by focusable, because there is no way of actually focusing the light. For instance, I can't just sharpen this window light effect, and there is no way of turning or twisting the light to help focus it to get the edges a bit more crisp. So we're just stuck with what it can produce. But all that being said, I still feel like this is a great piece of kit, and I'm really pleased that I bought it for myself, and I feel like things like this are just a great tool to have, because they seem to unlock a different bit of creativity in our minds, because now we can kind of shape light and add different sort of textures and stuff into the background of our scenes. I feel like we now can think slightly differently than just the norm and a 3-point bit of lighting. Having this allows us to add a little bit of texture or add a little bit of extra mood or help to sell practical light effects in our scenes. So having this in our toolbox really helps to take that step forward and just help progress us in the filmmaking world. So it's definitely something that I'm going to be using going forward, and I'd love to know, what do you think of the SMALLRIG RF10C? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of it, and are you interested in picking one of these up? If you are, I'll also link it in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you found it interesting and informative, a like would be fantastic. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it really does help out small channels like mine, and I hope to see you here again soon.